we're now joined by the great George Lynch. How are you today, George?
Hi, I'm well.
Well, we're pleased to connect with you. Very excited about the new Lynch Mob album, and it's great to see you back with Oni Logan and making some great music. I know you're always busy, got a lot of great projects. If we could just go back a little bit, when you at what age did you start playing guitar, and who really influenced you to start playing yourself?
I started playing it then. Was influenced initially by the Beatles and then Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, and Cream, and Jeff Beck came along, and that ruled my world, of course. Continues to.
Sure. Well, I know you're originally from Spokane, Washington. Talk about moving, eventually down to the L.A. area, and how excited you were to, start playing in live bands and getting involved in the circuit here in Southern California.
Yeah, we made a meaning, us and the guys at our band that we had up up north. We decided, if we're going to get anywhere, we need to be in L.A., into Hollywood. So we packed up our lives and loaded up a truck and moved to Hollywood. And it was a good decision for most of us.
And what year was that?
A lot of other things.
What year did you move here?
That was, I can't remember exactly. I think it was in the mid-'70s, I believe.
Okay. And what were your first impressions when you started to get into, the bigger circuit, bigger clubs, more competition, with all the record companies around and stuff? What were your first impressions of the LA scene?
Yeah, it was eye-opening, because there was a lot of great bands, and we had to go up against. So it was, but we really were excited about that. We really felt we had what it took to succeed. So we kind of thrived on the competition and the challenge.
Sure. And I know you went from the group The Boys into Exciter, and you were right here in the scene that obviously Van Halen was growing out of, and Randy Rhoads and Quiet Riot and all that. Talk about the first time you played with or saw people like that, like Eddie or Randy play.
Well, let's see. Randy was, he's playing clubs with Quiet Riot. It was, we played together a few times. I mean,
like the Starwood, places like that.
And other places, yeah. But it wasn't a transformational experience for me. I think Randy had his best years to come still.
Right.
He wasn't. He was actually very impressive in more of a sit-down environment. I mean, you sit down with him with a classical guitar, and you realize how deep of a player he is. But in the rock context and in the context of Quiet Riot, I mean, you could tell he had something going on. He was cool, but it wasn't like he was, scaring the pants off of every guitar player in L.A. like Eddie did. And that was scary.
Right. Now, I understand the Boys played at a gig where Gene Simmons came and kind of found Van Halen. Was that happening?
The first time we ran into Gene was at Gazzari's. We weren't playing with Van Halen. We were playing with who we were playing with. But he was really impressed and he was interested and started talking and just led to him coming to see us at Starwood, where we played with Van Halen. And the rest is history.
Sure. Well, I know those were exciting days for you, and you were in and around the Ozzy Osbourne camp when, not only when they chose Randy, but again, you were very close to joining the band when Jakey Lee joined. What was those experiences like? Audition for Ozzy and having.
It was a little intimidating because I was coming out of even though I was a fledgling guitar player, wanted to be a rock star and all that, I still had I had a very simple private life. I had a wife and 2 kids and had a job and that kind of thing. And so to be thrust into that was a little intimidating. I handled it, but it was all new to me, so I wasn't like I went in there with maybe as much confidence as I needed to have.
Sure. Well, I know from there, obviously, the world got to know you as the lead guitarist at Dokken, and between Breaking the Chains and Under Lock and Key and Back for the Attack, and of course, we really got to know you with the Mr. Scary instrumental, and you guys had a great run, and of course, opened up collaborations with Jeff Peelson and people I'm sure that you're working to this day. But what are your greatest memories of the 80s, with Dokken? When you think back, what's your greatest highlights?
Well, there were a few, quite a few. Obviously, there were the early days when we were very excited about, getting a chance to do a record. That was it was a very exciting time, and we did it in a foreign country. We were in Germany. We'd never been out of the country.
Sure.
We were working in Dieter Dirk's studio and hanging around with rock stars and stuff. It was great. There's just little points in every, part of the experience that were awesome. Getting your first gold record and having your first record come out. Getting on your first big tour and also those subsequent tours, and then doing Monsters of Rock, and then getting your platinum records, and doing videos and so forth and et cetera. Getting a Grammy nomination, which was in itself an honor, for Mr. Scary. So I don't know. There was a lot of high points.
Sure. Well, we certainly hold those albums in high reverence, and your guitar work is certainly the standout. Now, talk about making that move in '89 to form your own band, Lynch Mob. What was kind of the last straw, or what was the grass on the other side that was hopefully greener for you to, at that point, to strike out on your own?
Well, Don disbanded the band with the intention of keeping the name and carrying on with other people, hired guns. So they really had no choice but to start something new. But I stayed with Elektra Records, which was the record company that Dokken was with.
Sure.
And a bet on us. But we did not stay with our management company. We wished we would have, but the management company elected to stay with Don. And then there was a lawsuit for the name. We won the lawsuit, and he was not able to use the name. And we went on from there. And what I felt was that, I had an opportunity, probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, to build an ideal band and situation, out of coming out of Dokken. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because we had all those resources and success at Dokken. So, management, lawyers, record company, agency, publicists, radio people, you name it. We had the whole machine behind us, and I just had to find all the right members, which took quite a while, but we put them all together, Anthony Esposito, Mick Brown, Eddie Logan, and phenomenal. It was a phenomenal band. We did it right.
Sure. Well, talk about meeting Oni Logan. Obviously, you're still collaborating with him today, and he's got such a great voice. Talk about finding him and what it was about him that really, sold you that he was the guy.
He was just almost transcendent and magical. You'd listen to his voice and you'd go see him live, and it was just, no doubt in your mind, this guy is a cut above. This guy is electrifying, mesmerizing. He really did. He had he's one of those world-class guys that make a difference, and I felt he was perfect for the band because we had this kind of desert blues-based hard rock thing, and he fit right in. He was the voice of that. I mean, we were even considering Ray Gillen, the singer from Badlands, and it didn't work out with him. But I actually think that he would not have been as good a fit as Oni. Oni had a wider range of things that he could do, and he's lyrically just fantastic, just he's a poet. So, there is really no legitimate lynch mob without any Hogans.
Right. We'll talk about the latest record and what you're most proud of achieving. If there's any standout songs, or just overall what you're most excited about achieving on the new Lynch Mob.
Well, to really not stray in a wrong direction, I guess you'd say. I mean, I think we were guilty of that on the second record, the self-titled second record with Robert Mason. I think we elected to take a certain direction with that record, which was more commercial, more back towards the Dokken style versus what we'd established with Liquid Sensation. We got a pop producer, and we toned it down. And I think that was absolutely the wrong thing to do, obviously in retrospect. And with this latest record, Rebel, I think, and records previous to this, I think we've managed to continue to evolve in a meaningful way. It doesn't abandon our core roots; it just expands on them, so to speak. So.
Sure. Well, it's an amazing sounding record. It's I think you're sounding as great as ever. Certainly, Oni is, like you say, a cut above. He's got a very unique voice, and it's great to see you guys clicking on all cylinders. I know over the years you're very much involved. As a guitarist, you're endorsing ESP guitars, and of course, you've gotten a lot of accolades. Gibson calling you one of the top 10 metal guitarists ever, and Guitar World having you in the top 50. What's it like to get that kind of recognition back from the guitar industries, or people that listen to a lot of players, to get that kind of accolade?
Yeah. Well, of course, it's wonderful, but at the same time, it's a sense of responsibility to live up to that. So, and you have to do that.
Sure. And why is ESP the guitar of choice for you?
ESP, why is it my choice?
Yeah. Why are you behind those guitars?
Well, I've been with them 30 years. Like family to me, and I think President Matt Maciandaro has been, godfather to my daughter, and best man at my weddings, and we've been best friends forever. He's my guitar tech.
Wow. In
Dokken for many, many years, and so it's
a brotherhood.
It's my home. Yeah, it's my home.
Yeah. Well, I know we're certainly excited about the Lynch Mob album, but you're always very prolific. You've got the KXM album with Doug Pinnick from King's X and Ray Lazier from Korn, and heard about the Infidels project with some of the members of War and Sindog from Cypress Hill, and of course the Sweet and Lynch album. What is it about the outside projects that allows you to kind of keep creative and keep trying different things?
Well, I love being in the studio. It's a controlled environment where not like when you're out on the road, where things can go haywire.
Sure.
I love playing out live too, but don't get me wrong. But a live performance doesn't last forever. It's kind of like a snowflake, where a record you can really make a mark and say something that should last forever. So and you really have the you have the time to sit there and really create what you're trying to recreate, what you're trying to hear, what you're hearing in your head, and get that across to people in a controlled way, and to have a specific effect on people. I like all kinds of music and enjoy playing with different people. So it makes me play differently. I play with Michael. I'm kind of more in an '80s kind of mindset, and I play with Doug and Ray. I'm a little more modern rock, whatever you want to call that. Sure. When I play with Oni, it's the desert blues thing with a twist, And Infidels is completely off the map.
What's going on with that project?
Huh?
What, was Infidels a one-off? Or are you still collaborating with those guys?
The record is done. We are gearing up in October to do our videos and, all our other assets, our photo shoots and EPKs and build the website and the Facebook page, do all the stuff we need to do, start putting the business together for next year.
Right.
Release the record next year. That it was a very, very interesting record. The most interesting record I've ever been involved in. Very, very different for me.
Did somebody in there can't put that together and pull you in, or was this part of your idea?
It was actually myself and Pancho Tomaselli, the bass player, started this about 3 years ago. And we've been through, I believe, 4 different singers now. And that's really what was hanging us up, is that we had originally done some songs, did up some songs at a studio, and with the intention of working with Sendog from Cypress Hill. Yeah. But, for various reasons, it just didn't come together like it needed to, and we wasted about a year waiting for that to happen. And then we moved on to a couple different singers that took about another year, and we bore no fruit for various reasons. And then we just, recently, within the last 6 months, got together with Angela Moore from Fishbone, and it's been beautiful. I mean, it was worth the wait.
Wow.
He's a genius.
Dr. Mad Vibe, it's incredible. Angelo is quite a spirit. Hard to hold that guy down, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's, it's mostly his world, but, we made a concerted effort not to be Fishbone. I mean, obviously, with him singing, you're going to have that, but, we created our own sonic space and identity. It's very interesting. It's got a little Mr. Bungle in it, but not really. It doesn't sound like Mr. Bungle, but it's got a little bit of that scattered thing going on with different influences. There's a little jazz, it's definitely some funk, and of course it's essentially rock, but a little stoner rocky here and there, and different things. It's a little bluesy at one point, and it's cool. It's what Angelo does with the the sax and the theremin and the organ, and then stylistically, he's all over the map vocally, and his lyrics are interesting and thought-provoking and hilarious and wonderful. And it's just the funnest project I've ever been involved in. It's just really great. And we did it all to tape at a boutique kind of R&B funk soul studio. It's basically like walking into a studio in 1975, and these guys take this stuff real seriously. So it's, no double tracking, no fancy this or that, no Pro Tools. It's all the tape, old mics, old this and that. You all play at the same time. You're just goboed off in this little room.
Wow, can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, I played the whole record to a 56 Fender Deluxe Tweed amp, 70 Pro Reverb, bunch of pedals.
Well, obviously you're quite diverse and drawn a lot of influences. Why is it important for young players out there to really, dig into the, different styles and explore roots of some of their favorite artists they like?
Well, it just makes you a deeper and broader player. If you can add that to your lexicon of musical knowledge, I wouldn't pretend to be that guy. I dabble. And not because I don't have better intentions, it's just because I'm not sure why. Maybe I don't have the work ethic. uh, but I'm able to. I have a certain thing where I'm able to kind of. I call it the Zelig effect, where I'm sort of influenced by my environment, and I can sort of adapt and like a chameleon and just kind of fit in. So if I'm playing with guys that are, jazz guys or blues guys or whatever it is, I just seem to be able to find my way around, and that's what I did with this record. But that's kind of the cheap way to do it. I mean, the real way to do it is really know what you're doing.
Sure.
And so I would recommend to people that they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, any other advice you have to the young players? Because it seems like with this internet generation, a lot of the younger generation wants instant gratification. And obviously you've been playing for many years, and some of the people that influence you have played for decades before, they got discovered. What advice do you have as far as the level of passion or commitment it takes to master your instrument and really find your own unique style?
Yeah, I say two things. I say grow your own voice if it's possible. That's if you're built that way. And secondly, and in whatever situation you find yourself in, band situation or whatever, just stay together. I think that's half the battle, is just, not falling apart, not
give up.
Yeah. Just keep it intact and stay on the plan as much as possible. I know life gets in the way. Of course, it's easier said than done, but that's why it's challenging. That's why most people cannot keep it together for very long, including myself. So I love it when I give people advice that I can't take myself.
Well, it's certainly after many, many years of doing it. George, we really appreciate your time. Lynch Mob Rebel is the album. Can't wait to see you out there.
I definitely wanted to talk about who played on the Lynch Mob record.
Please do.
In the band now. So Jeff Pilson from Dokken played bass on the Rebel record, and Brian Tichy played drums on the record. But they're not in the band.
Yeah.
They just worked on the album. So we have Sean McNabb on bass, who's formerly, I think, was in Dokken for about 11 years.
Sure.
And Jimmy DeAnda on drums,
wow.
who I've also played with in Shadow Train.
Sure, from the Bullet Boys.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's
Jimmy
an amazing band. I know you're out there playing live. We'll definitely spread the word on your tour dates and encourage everyone to go check out the Rebel album by Lynch Mob. George, thank you so much. We look forward to great new music in the future.
Thank you. Okay.